can you define self-efficacy? And then within that, can you talk a little bit about what you think, this is going to sound, very broad, but what society tends to do to perpetuate the portrayal of an ACL injury, contributing to fear potentially and a decrease in self-efficacy?
Yeah, I want to actually do it justice. So I'm gonna quick scroll here because they define it kind of in the context of injury.
Oh, perfect. Oh, also before I forget, can you spell Clara's last name for people?
Oh, it's Claire, Claire, and it's Ardern, Ardern. So it wasn't, maybe it wasn't exactly in, oh, here we go. Okay. Self-efficacy, a belief in the efficacy of the treatment. They put it in context of treatment itself. And then, let me see, sports. Maybe it wasn't specifically this one. I remember reading that it was their internal belief that they could complete anywhere from in rehab the task at hand to they could successfully return to sport. And I think obviously the latter is a lot harder when you get closer. But I think that the former, the belief in their control over and their skill with which to complete the task at hand is really where we come in, because on a day-to-day, a week-to-week, a month-to-month basis, whether it's through, our bias might be through smart strength training once they're kind of done with formal rehab, and more so on the track to return to sport. But whether it is that on a week-to-week progression basis there, whether it's a sprint progression, whether it's some jump and land and cutting type drills, those sort of things, like progressions with those, I think a mix between, giving them sort of what I found thus far and what I'm sort of playing around with is giving them almost like assignments to do on their own, either with a partner or something like that, that we've already practiced in the clinic and they know how to do, but maybe the clinic space isn't super conducive to actually kind of going at that 75 to 80%, if it's sprint, cutting, jumping, landing, but that I also 100%, the feeling I'm getting is that when I tell them to carry out said session or activity on their own, I'm saying, I trust you to do this. And there's absolutely no harm in you taking this on your own, because I think what we forget is that when they're in the clinic setting, we can talk about, maybe Mike Amato could talk a little bit more about this, but contextual factors. People feel safe when they're doing stuff with you or in the clinic or whatever it is. So I think when you say, okay, I'm going to have you go do this, not only is that, confidence in them to the utmost, but that is, in my experience thus far, a really good way to support self-efficacy, because you're trusting them to do it, they come back, they report it, and you go on to the next thing. And it's kind of like rehab isn't linear, but it's definitely helping to trend in the right direction.
So it sounds like a big, important piece of self-efficacy is creating independence, and maybe that's synonymous, but for the athlete to feel like they don't need you every step of the way, or you are there to guide the process or to present the next step, and then you kind of sign off on your approval, and then they are then able to do that on their own, practice it, where otherwise maybe they would have felt like they shouldn't do that without you around, or like you said, weren't safe to do so. That I love that.